Hey everybody. So for today's video, this will either be posted on October 30th or on Halloween. I'm going to talk about some films that either are not normally talked about during Halloween, then should be, and films that I also talked about when I don't think I showed this one on YouTube, but if you listen to this one on Facebook, some films that I highly recommended in 2011 is really good Halloween movies. Like I said, I don't think YouTube got that one, but for this year for sure, you guys will get this one if you're watching this on YouTube. But these are 5 film titles that I think are very good. I think the Halloween season, you should definitely check these films out. Whether it's I post this video the day before or the day of. If you can track out these films in time, these are definitely ones to check out. So number one on my list, you guys, for films to watch for Halloween, is Wes Craven's A New Nightmare. It was a unique take on Nightmare on Elm Street by Wes Craven. What they did was they took actors and actresses who were a part of the original series, and they were trying to play it out like what if Freddy Krueger was a real, living, breathing thing, and after the films were over with, what would happen? Would he seek revenge on the people a part of the films? Would he seek his revenge on the audience? What would happen if Freddy was real? And if New Line Cinema had, a seventh film concept and was about to pursue it, how would Freddy react to it, kind of a thing. So it was just really clever. When you see the film, you know what I'm talking about. They really get this presence of what if Freddy was real in our reality right now. So a very clever film, probably the number one choice here on my list that I'm going to talk about today. Another really good sequel, and like I said, I'm trying to talk about films that aren't really normally talked about. If you like John Carpenter's Halloween, which is probably one of my favorite horror films of all time, and definitely a great film to watch for Halloween, a good sequel to check out in that franchise is Halloween H2O, or H20, like I like to call it, 20 years later. Um, I thought it was a very good continuation of the first film. It was definitely the first Halloween sequel where they gave justice to the original. I like all the Psycho references. I like all the films that they referenced that eventually inspired Halloween, the first film. I liked how they referenced, the son comforting Jamie Lee Curtis, saying that he was burned alive like he was in Halloween 2. Just a lot of really good things a sequel needs. And I actually heard somewhere it was actually released 20 years exactly after the first film, same day and everything. So it's just a really nice celebration, homage, sequel. So it's pretty much my favorite Halloween sequel because of all these things that went so well for it. I like the old cast, the new cast that was a part of it. I liked how they got the whole Halloween feeling back into it. It was just a really well done sequel. So make sure you check out Halloween H20. Another good sequel that really isn't talked about a lot, and I wish it was, is Psycho 4. And now, hear me out first. I know a lot of people don't like the Psycho sequels at all. I am a huge Alfred Hitchcock an Alfred Hitchcock fanboy myself. And, at first I was kind of like, Psycho sequels, really? But I got around to 4. And, at that point in the series, I hated 3. 2 was okay. The original was still the best. And I hated the remake. But Psycho 4, you guys, actually did have the original screenwriter. And what was cool about 4 was they showed Norman Bates' origin. And I think they pursued it pretty well. And you can definitely tell Joseph Stefano, who wrote the screenplay for the first film, was definitely a part of this production. Um, it was just, like I said, they definitely gave the first film justice, and they managed to balance itself on its own. It wasn't competing with the first film at all. Um, it was basically a nice, and unique, and neat way to tell us how Norman Bates was the way he was in the first film without ruining the first film in the process. And it was probably the first Psycho sequel that was actually worth seeing, because 2 you really didn't need to see, 3 definitely you didn't need to see at all. And this was, like I said, the first Psycho film outside the original that was actually worth watching. So if you get a chance, make sure you check out Psycho 4, and I think it's even called Psycho 4 The Beginning. And like I said, you get to learn more about Norman Bates' origin, and it's very interesting. Friday the 13th Part 3. And why I chose Part 3 for this countdown is it's the first Friday the 13th film to have Jason with his hockey mask. In part one, we had Mrs. Voorhees as the villain. Part two, we had Jason, but he just had a paper bag over his head the whole film. And this is the first film where he did have some form of paper bag or something over his head in roughly the first, 45, 50 minutes maybe. And then in that last, the second and third act, we get to see him with that hockey mask on. The hockey mask that we saw him with throughout the rest of the franchise. And it really kind of gave the series something iconic to remember it for. So Friday the 13th Part 3 definitely is on my list. And what was also cool about this film, and I think you can still watch it this way if you get the right edition for it, you can still watch it in 3D. And it was actually shown in 3D in theaters back when this film first came out also. So if you get a chance to see it in 3D, it's even better because there are a lot of scenes in here where the 3D really did work quite well. To kind of tone down the horror genre and show you and talk about another great film to watch for Halloween, I highly recommend the film Hocus Pocus with Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker. Very fun movie. I watched it almost every year, and I think I still watch it every year for Halloween. It was just a lot of fun. Very funny. It was just, a very fun Disney family film to watch on Halloween. And I think that's exactly what it was trying to be. Very fun. A lot of classic lines in it. The Binks the Cat was very fun to watch in it. So if you haven't seen Hocus Pocus, make sure you do. It's a very fun family film to watch on Halloween. And those are kind of the 5 films I wanted to talk about this year, guys. So if you've seen this video last year, great. Now you know kind of my further comments on some of these films and some of the new films I probably didn't talk about as much last year. And if you're new to this series of videos, thanks for watching this one. Sorry I didn't post this one last year on Facebook. I posted on Facebook, but I didn't post it on YouTube. So thank you for those on YouTube who are watching this. And hopefully you guys have a great Halloween, and I'll see you back here for my next video.